let's go ahead and put our books back into our book bin. And please, when I call your table to put your books away, just be careful. There are cameras set up over by the shelves. Just make sure you're careful with them so that nothing happens. I know we are very responsible, so that shouldn't be a problem. Can you please put these away? Are those yours? Please make sure your desks are cleared off. Green table, you may put your book bins away. Jason? Red table, would you please go put your book bins away? No, the guys with the tags, there's 5. 3 of them are at this table though. And then 1 here and 1 over here.
Let's see. Non-consent, right there, lanyard. Will you hold that up?
You don't need your license.
There's one.
Put your high fives away. The only thing on your desk right now needs to be your paper with your first and last name. Yellow and green tables, go put your book bins away, please.
Non-consent on this table. There's 3 of them.
All right.
Black shirt.
Yippee. Silver and red table, please go carefully put your book bins away.
There's another one over here. This girl in the sweater, I think.
Yeah. What's your seat? Careful. And the purple table, please go put your book bins away. Put your pencil boxes away because everything you need is going to be in your bags. Go put your book bins away. I thought I called your table. Noemi, can you put your tag on and put your pencil box away? Jason, let me see your best choices, please. The only thing on your desk right now is the paper that I gave you. All right, my friends. Are we set to get started?
We're good.
We're good?
Thanks.
Should I actually be teaching now? All right. All right, boys and girls. On your desk, you have your math packet for today. On your math packet, you should have your name. Point to your first name, please. Point to your last name, please. We want to make sure we always put our name on our work because we put so much effort. We don't want to lose that. And we also have our learning target for today. Can you read your target with me? I can persevere
to solve word problems using many strategies.
All right. What does that word persevere mean? We've been talking about that word a lot lately because we don't only persevere in math, we persevere in lots of things. What does it mean when we persevere? Chloe? You keep trying and you never give up. Does anybody have something they'd like to add to that? Sager? Even when it's hard, you still don't give up. Hank?
Try it again if you didn't do it the first time.
If something goes wrong, you try it again, and you know that that's okay that you have to try again. Anybody else have anything to add about persevering before we move on? So we need to remember that word as we are working on these word problems, because sometimes word problems, they can be hard, right? But we have learned lots of skills, adding and subtracting and understanding place value, the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place. We've learned a lot of things that can help us to persevere to solve these word problems. All right, let's look on the board. We are going to brainstorm at your table some strategies that you have for solving word problems. Think about all those math things that we have been practicing this year and what strategies, what skills will help you to be able to solve the word problems. Would you please talk at your tables as many strategies as you guys can think of that you might use today when we're solving our word problems?
We can use maps, like full maps.
What does the hundreds chart show you? What's on the hundreds chart?
On the hundreds chart is numbers and they show you and then you have to let her problem by you counting do up.
What was your idea, Jason? Friendly numbers. We've been using those a lot lately, huh? All right, can I have your attention in 3, 2, and 1? What was a strategy that someone at your table shared that you thought could be helpful, Sophia? Base 10 blocks. We do a lot with base 10 blocks because in second grade, it's very important for us to understand what those numbers mean. So we do a lot of base 10 things in class. Tell me another strategy you came up with, Marcos. A brace map. And what have we been practicing using the brace map to do? Remember, our brace map looks like this. What have we been using the brace map to do, Giovanni? We organize our information. It helps us to see what we know and what we have to figure out. Christian, what else did your group come up with? Thinking blocks, which was another way to do what, Christian? Thinking blocks was another way that we have practiced for organizing our information. So you can pick a way to organize your information that is the most helpful for you. What else have we used? Eric? Pictures. Different kinds of pictures will help us solve our word problems. I heard lots of good ideas. What else did your group come up with, Elizabeth? A hundreds chart. We've learned how to hop. If you hop up and down on a hundreds chart, how are you counting when you hop up and down on a hundreds chart? That's something that we've been practicing. It's a skill that will help us with our word problems. If you hop up or you hop down, how are you counting? Sager? You're adding or subtracting, but by how many? Jason? By 10. So if you hop up 10, you're subtracting 10. If you hop down 10, you'd be adding 10. How about if you move left and right, side to side? How does that change your counting? Lauren? Then you would be counting by ones. So by understanding how a hundreds chart works, you can use it to solve the word problems. What other strategies have we used? Liba? Open number lines, because then we can focus on just the numbers that we need. What else? Anaya? Using our fact families. Sometimes understanding how adding and subtracting work together will help us solve our problem. Another strategy, Samuel? 10 frames. I'm going to put that near pictures because that is a type of picture that you might use that keeps it organized and is easy to see. Chloe?
Friendly numbers.
Friendly numbers. Choosing the numbers that are easiest for you to work with to solve the problem. Anthony? Tally marks. I'm also going to set that over by our pictures because that's a type of picture. What else? Pink.
You can use your regular number line.
You could use a regular number line. Instead of an open number line, you might use a number line that has the numbers on it for you and hop depending on what the problem tells you. Evelyn?
Number sentences.
And what kind of number sentence might you use? You might use adding or subtracting number sentences. And you could actually solve the same, one person might solve a problem with an adding sentence, where another person might solve that same problem with a subtracting number sentence because we understand how fact families work. Any other strategies? Zoe? Coins. I'm going to set that over by our pictures too because that's a type of picture you might use depending on the problem. Lauren? Expanded form. I'm going to set that over by friendly numbers because we learned that as we stretch our numbers out into expanded form, sometimes it makes it easier for those numbers, for us to add and subtract those numbers. So expanded form tends to be friendly for us. Christian? Flow map. And I'm going to set that over by our other organizing because you can separate the problem into steps. This is a lot of strategies that you have to choose from, isn't it? So as we're doing, and these are all things that we have practiced, and now you're going to use those skills to solve our word problems. Okay? So I would like you to turn to the first page in your booklet, and you're going to see our first word problem. Now, before we worry about what that word problem says, we have also thought about what steps we take when we're solving a word problem. Who can tell me? We read the problem, we find the important information, and then what do we do with that information? Samuel? We organize it. Why do we organize the information? Molly? It helps us show what we need to figure out because it also tells us what we were given, right? And so if we know what we were given, we'll see what piece of information is missing, and that will help us pick a strategy that will get to that part. What do we do after we have our information all organized and set? Giovanni? We pick a strategy. We think about all of the math skills that we have practiced, and we pick a strategy that we think will help us get us there. What do we need? We learned a big word for helping us choose a strategy that will be just right. What's the word we've been practicing for what kind of strategy we want to think about? Sophia?
Efficient.
Efficient. And what does that big word efficient mean? Elizabeth?
Like, it means that it's not a very, very slow way. It's a fast way to do it.
It's a way that is not going to take us hours and hours to solve the problem. It's maybe the best way to solve that problem. What else do we need to know about efficient though? Just because it's quick doesn't make it efficient. It won't be efficient if what, Evelyn? It has to be good work. It has to be a strategy that is helpful in solving the problem. If you pick a strategy that doesn't work for the problem, it's not going to be very efficient because in the end you're not going to get to that solution. Once we've picked a strategy that we think is efficient and we've used it to solve the problem, what do we do next? Anaya? We pick another strategy. Why in the world would we pick another strategy to solve that problem that we already did? Eric? Very good. It will help you to check your work and see if that first strategy was really helpful. Okay? So we kind of use those two strategies to see did they both kind of work the same way? Did they end up in the same place? Then we have a good idea that we're on the right track to solving that problem. All right, so we are on our first word problem. I would love to hear my super second grade readers read this problem with me. Can you do that?
Yes.
Ready? Peter had
41 marbles. Mike gave Peter some more marbles. And then he had 65 in all. How many marbles did Mike give Peter?
Very good. Now why don't we go ahead and out of your desks take out your math tool bags with all of those helpful things that you might choose to use when you get to strategies. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Very good. My green table's all set. My yellow table is all ready. All right. Now we want to look back into that problem and we want to find the important information that will help us to solve it. Would you take a second and with your pencil, can you underline a piece of information that you think is important? I'm noticing a few people are circling a piece of information. We've practiced circling the information that we think is what we're going to try to figure out using our strategies. All right, when you are all set, please set your pencil down and show me that you are ready. Thank you, Silver Table, for showing me such great, responsible, respectful choices. All right, my friends. What is one piece of information that you underline that you think will be helpful to know when we are solving our problem? Marcos?
Peter had 41 marbles.
I'm on the wrong problem. Peter had 41 marbles. So that tells us something that we need to know. What else? Did you underline anything else? Anthony? Did you underline that or did you circle it? Anthony circled some more marbles. Why would we circle that? Molly? It didn't give, very good. It didn't give us a number. Some doesn't tell us any information. So that word kind of triggers in my head. We're going to have to work on that to see what that means. Did you underline anything else? Samuel? 65 in all. Show me with your thumbs. Thumbs up. That's the stuff I found that was important. Thumbs to the side. I had other ideas. Sager, you had a different idea?
How many marbles would Mike give
Okay, so did you underline that or did you circle it? Instead of circling some more marbles, Sager circled the question, how many marbles did Mike give Peter? Because that's what he needs to figure out. Now, we've been focusing on two main ways to organize your information. Who can tell me the two strategies we've used to organize what we've learned? Lauren? Thinking blocks and a brace map. Would you please, on your paper, yours looks just like mine, organize your information. What's important when we organize? We don't just want the numbers in there. We also want to do what, Liba? We want to label it because we want to know what those numbers mean. It's important to understand what those numbers mean. So you're going to start by organizing your information, and then we'll stop there and we'll talk about how we did it, and then you'll go ahead to your strategies. But while you're waiting, you can start thinking about what strategy you think would be efficient. Would you go ahead and organize your information on your paper? I see lots of people using brace maps. I see lots of people using thinking blocks. You get to choose what makes sense to you. I see Eric adding his labels. Okay, now think about your information. There's 65 in all. Does that go on the outside or the inside? The outside, so you put 65 in all over there. Oh, 65 in all. Where would that go? On the outside or the inside of your brace map? The outside. So can you start with that information? Alright, everyone think about. Alright, you've got 65 in all. Good. Now what other piece of information did they give you? You know that there's 65 in all, but we also know what else? 41. And is that what he started with, or is that what Mike gave him? Mike gave Peter some more marbles. Did he give him 41? Or did Peter already have 41? So you want to add that into your snap. All right, let's finish up and put our pencils down. And who would like to explain to us how they organized their information? What did you use and how did you put it in there? Jason? Okay, so Jason started with a brace map, and then what did you do? He wrote in all on the outside. And why did you put the in all on the outside? That's going to be our total. Very good. Now what did you do?
In the inside, I wrote had.
So you wrote the word had. So that's, why do you need that label?
Because then we know how much he had before
That's how many he had at the beginning. He started with these, right? Where did you go from there?
And then inside I wrote God.
Okay, so then you wrote the word got, and why did you write that word?
So then we know how much Peter got from Mike.
Then we know how many he got from Mike. Very good. Did anybody raise your hand? Did you also use the brace map? A lot of us did, right? Now your labels might be different words, but they should be the same idea. The outside should have something to do with the total or the in all. We want a label for what Peter started with and a label for how many new ones he got from his friend Mike. Can somebody tell me where they put the numbers with these labels? Where would our numbers go? Christian? And why did you put the 65 within all? Because that is the total. Where did you put, what else did you do? What Peter had was 41. And it says Peter had 41 marbles. So we're just using the evidence from the word problem. Did you have anything else? No. What do we do? What about this spot? What about with what he got? Giovanni? That's what we're trying to figure out. So when we pick our strategies, we need to pick something that's going to help us figure out what Mike gave to Peter. Would you go ahead and on your paper pick two strategies to solve the problem? Go ahead and you can use anything in your tool bags that will help you figure out the missing information. Anaya, it might be easier if you take it out of the bag. I see some of us pulled out our hundreds charts. I see some of us pulled out our number lines. I also see some people who are making number sentences. I'm spying some base 10 blocks in our work. I'm seeing some friends that as they add information to their strategy, they're labeling those numbers so they know exactly what they were thinking. Can you tell me why you decided to put the blank here?
Because that was the answer that I was trying to figure out.
Okay, and so why did you use adding to figure that out?
So then you can see it equals up to 65.
So that's what he started with. These are the ones that he got from his friend, and that's the total. Is there a different number sentence that also would have worked? You used adding. Is there a different strategy you could have used that was a number sentence? You could have, yes, used your fact families and what you know to put the 65 first and do it. But either way, whatever makes sense. Just make sure that when it's time to share that you can explain it. I see an open number line going here. Can you tell me what you're doing?
I started at 65, and then I made 4 hops here, and then I made little hops, 1 hop, until I got to 41.
And how many hops was that in all? Are you still figuring that out? I like how you put the 4 dots here so you knew it was 4 hops in one big leap. Good job. Keep working. Make sure when you're ready that you can explain what your pictures mean, okay? Okay, that was, now let's think about this. 65 is in all, right? You should have that there. So that tells us, is 65 one of the biggest number, or is it one of the small parts? It's the in all. Is that the biggest piece or a small piece? The bigger piece. So 65 should be out here. Now think about where the biggest number goes when we're adding. Where does the biggest number end up when we're adding? Is it in the small parts or the biggest answer?
Oh, okay.
So should we be adding 65, or 65 should end up to be our answer? You don't want to get bigger than 65. That's what you told me. Can you add more to 65 and still have 65?
Just tell them to go for it.
No. So we want 60. You can't add 41 to 65. Think about your strategy. Let's try to finish up so we can have a few people share what they did. If you finish your strategies, start thinking about what you did and why you did it so that you're ready to explain to us. What strategy did you pick here? Friendly numbers, would you be willing to share that strategy with us? Which tool did you use for this one? The 100 start. Would you be willing to share with us how you used that? Okay. You used the open number line here. Did you figure out how many hops it took to get from 65 down to 41?
Yeah.
How many was it?
24.
You want to write that down there? Would you be willing to share your open number line with us? All right. This is your 30-second warning. Try to finish up. I can tell that Eric is finished and he's waiting respectfully for his peers to also have time to do their work. I see Molly is ready and waiting nicely. So is Jason. All right, my friends, can we go ahead and put our tools down? Because we now want to focus on listening to what strategies other people used. Because a lot of the strategies that we listed at the beginning are strategies you guys came up with, and we learned from each other what we can do. Who has a strategy they would like to share? Jason, would you bring your paper up, please? I'll set it under the Elmo. You can be the teacher. Make sure you use your very big teacher voice so that everybody can hear what you did. Now, whoops. All right, go ahead and tell us what you did. Okay, now where did the 40 come from? Where did you get the 40 to start with?
I just totally wanted to put in this number sentence.
Okay, so that was kind of like breaking it apart into expanded form. So he broke his numbers into his 41 into expanded form, and he knew that he had to get to 65. So notice he also has the 60 and the 5 separated into expanded form. And then it was easy for him to fill in which numbers would help him get to the 60 in the tens place and the 5 in the ones place. Nice job with your friendly numbers. Do we have another strategy that you would like to share? Evelyn, would you share what you did? And you used a tool, so I'm going to put your tool up here too. Why don't you keep this, and I'll put you can point on the hundreds chart what you did. You can just explain it.
I started at 41 and hopped down with 2 rows until I got to 61.
Okay, can you show us how you hopped?
I started at 41 and hopped down with 2, and I did that because I knew it would be faster to hop down 2 rows than I wanted to hop down 10. So then I counted 4 more until I got to 65, and I knew that 20 plus 4 equals 24. So then I gave Peter 24.
Fantastic strategy. Very different than what Jason did, but also very efficient. Another strategy that you would like to share, Christian, would you come on up?
I used the open number line, and I started at 65, and I jumped back 4, and then I jumped back 1 hop until I got to 44, and then I put dots, and then I didn't put dots, and then that's how I got to 24.
Okay, so let's just take a look at what Christian did. He started with one big hop of 4. And now, so he would know how many hops that was. He put the 4 dots in that one space, so he knew that was worth 4. And then, were you counting as you did this?
Yes.
He was counting in his head until he got down to 41, and then he could go back and count all of his hops and find the answer. And how many hops did it take you? 24. Fantastic. All right, my friends, let's turn the page and look at a new problem. Let's go ahead, we'll read it together and we'll find our important information. But this time, you're going to organize it, do your strategies, and share with your table one of the strategies that you used, okay? So let's hear those wonderful second grade readers that we have. Ready? Peter read
34 pages of his book before lunch. After lunch, he read some more. If Peter read 56 pages in all, how many pages did he read after lunch?
All right. Take just 30 seconds and underline the information that you think we need to know to solve this problem. When you're done, put your pencil down and lock up your hands so I can tell that we are ready to share. finish up. All right, my friends, tell me one thing that you underlined, information that was given to us that we need to know. Marcos.
Peter read 34 pages.
He read 34 pages. What else did you underline, Hank?
I underlined 56 pages in all.
56 pages in all. And did anybody circle something that stuck out and you said, this is what I need to try and figure out? Trevion, what did you circle? Some. He read some more. When we hear that word some in math, we think to ourselves, I can't count that. That doesn't tell me how many. Okay? So now what you're going to do, all 3 steps, organize and your 2 strategies. When you see that everyone at your table is ready, go around and share one of the strategies that you used that you found helpful. Okay? Go ahead and get started. You got it. Keep going. And what do we want to label this? It's the pages in all. We want to make sure we label it so we know what the numbers mean. Okay, now that you have your brace map ready, look at the information that they gave us. Which number do you want to start with? 34. Now is that the total or is that a part? Is that how many pages in all or just one part of his pages? Okay, so the 34 on the inside. What other information did they give us? They gave us 34 and they gave us 56. Is that in all or just a part? So we want to put our 56 in all on the outside. Ian, you need to go ahead and do your strategies. You're going all the way through, from organizing all the way through your second strategy so that you can share how you solved it. I see some of us pulling out our base 10 blocks. I see some friends using the hundreds chart and a number line. Can you scoot in a little bit, please? Thank you. I see some friends trying out friendly numbers and expanded form. Trevian, you want to keep going with your strategies. Now that you have your information organized, how are you going to figure out that missing number? Okay, so now we need to know how many he read after lunch. So you need to figure out how to get from 34 to the 56. What strategy can you use to figure out how to get from 34 to 56? Okay, so go ahead and start with that. Okay, so that, how many did you draw? 56 in all. Now 34 of them he read before lunch. So how can you show that those are the ones that he read before lunch? Is the way you can mark them so you know that they're the ones before lunch? Okay, so then whatever's left over is what he read after lunch. When you notice the people at your table are done, you can start sharing your strategies. What what strategy did you pick first? Phase 10 blocks. So you had 34 here, and you know you need to get to 56. So how many need to go there to get you there? Were you going to take these out to use them? What did you use? The hundredths chart, and show me what you did. And how many hops did that end up to be? 1 and 2. Very good, because when you hop down, you count by. And when you hop to the side, you count by. Very good. Tell me what you did. Good strategy. Now look at your number sentence. When we're adding, which of these numbers is the most? So where should that number go when we're adding? So can you look at your number sentences again and see if you can find a way to get this number to the end? About 1 more minute, and then we need to all start sharing, so try to finish up. Elizabeth, I see that you're explaining your strategy to Marcos, but you still have some friends that are working. Can you wait until everyone can listen? Thank you. Must be a good strategy. You're excited to share.
So, the 4 and the 6, that makes sense to me. And I thought in my head that was 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. So, I knocked out 3 and I put the 1 and I got 4 and I got 14. So,
Okay, but now you need to remember which of these numbers should end up at the bottom. Which is our biggest number?
60.
Well,
56.
56 has to be our biggest number. So did he read 34 pages before lunch and 69 pages after lunch and read 56 in all? Does that make sense? No. Your strategy is a good strategy, but you need to think about where that 56 has to go. That 56 needs to be the biggest. So you're trying to figure out what would get you from 34 to the 56.
So I could say 14 plus 69 equals 56.
Does it? Okay, so why don't you try making your number sentence with the 56 where you know it belongs and see if you can figure out how to that missing number. All right, if your table hasn't started sharing yet, you should have at least one of your strategies done. Can you share your strategies around the table before we break off into groups?
Okay, I do.
It's a raid. So it's I told him 5, but I didn't tell him to move the table. Did he say he's worried? Tell him to not purchase it.
Everyone make sure you're listening.
And then push all the way up to 56, and then it got to and then the number was 23.
Make sure it's on the same. Send the text, be like, don't report or anything. So we don't have any barely afford to do it.
You have set a kid, the camera.
This looks. Oh, I missed your strategy. Can you share it again? And when I came around the first time, you didn't know how many went in that blank. You didn't know it was 22. How did you figure out 22 went in there? Okay, so you had 34 and then you added a long, and 34 plus 10 gave you. So that first 10 didn't give you 56. What's 10 more than 34? You said you were counting as you went, right? So you went 34 and 10 more than that gives you 44. And what was 10 more than that? Think about hopping on your number grid. What goes down from 44? And then one more is? You were at 54. So one more than 54 is? And that last one gives you? Very good. What did you notice? That's right. These strategies help each other. Sager? Very good. You want to have a lot of tools that you can pull out. All right, my friends, let's finish in 3, 2, and 1. Our voices should be down to 0 now. Would you please put all of your tools into your tool bag? Because in a second, we're going to be moving around the room and you want to make sure that you have everything that you need. I can tell that Trevion is ready to get moving. I see that Sophia and Christian and Chloe and Jason are ready to get moving. Nice work. The whole purple table is ready. Now, while you're waiting, I want you to think about how you're doing with our learning target. Our learning target is to persevere to solve word problems using many strategies. You need to think about how you're doing with that. How do you feel with it? If you feel like you've totally got it and you would be able to help somebody else if they need it, you're going to go in a minute and stand on the rug. If you feel like you're getting it most of the time, but sometimes you might need to ask someone a question just to make sure you're on the right track, you would be in kind of that middle space of our target. You're going to stand over to this side of the room. And if you're you still need help walking through it, maybe you get stuck on organizing the information or picking a good strategy, and you feel like working in a group with me would be the best place for you to be successful, you need to think of yourself out here. All of us are going to be working to get better from where we are. We can always improve. So what I want you to do, is it more important to be with someone that you want to work with or in a place that's going to meet your needs? What's the most important part when you're picking your spot? Evelyn?
That you would pick the right spot because you want to get better at it.
Very good. You're going to want to pick the spot that's going to help you get better. So, think in your head where you belong. If you're out here, you're going to bring all your things, your tool bags and your pencils and your work, and come sit with me. My friends in the middle, you're going to take all of your things and stand over on this side of the room. My friends who feel like they're really getting it are going to come and stand on this side of the room with all of your things. Would you please push in your chairs, go to where you belong, okay, so find a partner. That would be on this side, Hank. That would be over here. Okay, now my friends up here, you're going to take a seat facing the board because we're going to be working together. My friends that are over on this side, would you walk over and ask someone over here to be your partner? And then as soon as you have your partner, you can find a spot to get started working. Jason, a group of 3 then, okay? Group of 3. He's joining you. That's okay. Come and take a seat. Farron and Noemi, I'm going to ask that you sit over here so that we can blur you out of the cameras, okay? Find a spot, sitting crisscross so we can read our next problem. All right, my friends, as soon as you are in a spot, Giovanni and Samuel, why don't you move over here so you have some space? Thank you. And Molly and Chloe, why don't you come over here so that you have a little bit more space? All right, go ahead and read your next problem and start working together. All right, let's turn the page. Take your word problems out, turn the page. How am I in a different order? Okay, and would you please whisper read it to yourself? Whisper read it to yourself and underline the important information. And then we'll work on organizing it together, okay? Anthony, read it and please underline the important information. All right, my friends, let's read the problem together. Put your pencils down. Let's read it together, and then we'll find the important information. Ready? On your papers. Jack, I should hear you reading, guys. Jack ate 24 grapes at morning snack time and more grapes at lunchtime. If Jack ate 50 grapes in all, how many grapes did he eat at lunchtime? What did you underline? What was something that you underlined, Trevian? Ate 24 grapes at morning. Did you underline anything else, Eric? He ate 50 grapes in all. So what are we trying to figure out? I see some circles on your paper. What don't we know yet? Brian? How many he ate at lunchtime? How many did he eat at lunchtime? Let's organize together. What would you like to use to organize our information? Fabiola? A brace map. So let's all draw a nice big brace map on our paper. And let's think about this information. 24 grapes in the morning. Is that a part of what he ate, or is that the total of what he ate? Where should we put the 24? We want to put the 24 on the inside because that's what he ate in the morning. Let's go ahead and add that to our brace map.
So what I underlined and what I circled. I'm gonna underline how many grapes and then circle.
Okay.
Alright.
Now, how about we also underline 50 grapes in all? Where should we put that? Is that a piece of what he ate, or is that the total of what he ate, Eric?
Well, let's do it on here.
So we should put it inside or outside?
We'll explain what
You want to put the 50 in all on the outside.
And remember how Miss Glynn told us to do it? Yeah, you like skip like that.
Now, what information are we missing? What are we trying to figure out when we solve this problem? We want to know what he ate at lunchtime. That's our missing information.
We had a discussion.
So, okay. So, 1 second. Wait, let's start by 4. So, 4 and then I'll have you see.
Give me a thumbs up when your brace map is all set.
Wait. We have to wait. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's pick one strategy to do together, and then you can try a second strategy on your own. What would you like to use as our first strategy? Does anybody have an idea of what might help us figure out? 24 and something is going to give us a total of 50. What strategy would you like to try, Fabiola?
Okay, so let's...
An open number line. So let's start by drawing our number line. We're not going to put any numbers on it because it's an open number line.
And then when I get the number, I write the number.
And when your line is ready, think about what number do you want to start at? What number should be the first one that we add, Trevion? Trevion wants to start at the 24 because that's what he ate in the morning.
I mean so say.
Turn to someone next to you and try and talk about what are we going to do from that 24 to figure out how to get to 50. So Trevion and Fabiola, if you could turn, Brian and Anthony, if you could turn and talk, and then the three of you guys, would you try and figure out what do you want to do next on our open number line?
So that is okay. So we have
Anthony and Brian, you should be coming up with what do we do next? Finish up.
Okay, so let me just get there. I'm gonna do
And boys and girls up here, can you turn back to the front? I heard a good idea that was happening here. I was watching to see what you guys were saying, and I think I can tell what your plan is. Who has a plan? What are we going to do next on our number line? Fabiola? Fabiola wants to put the 50 in all at the end because that's our biggest number. That's the total. Then we need to figure out how to get from 24 to 50. How can we get from 24 to 50? Eric? What? We want to add hops. Do you think, would it be more efficient to hop by ones? Or is there a different hop that we could take? Can we take a bigger hop that would help us out? How do you want to hop? Think about our number chart or our hundreds chart. Do we always hop by ones or do we sometimes hop a different direction? We hop up and down. Why don't you guys go ahead and take your hundreds charts out and let's use that tool to help us. Brian, the hundreds chart is this one. Okay, so we're at 24, and we said if we hop down, that counts how many? Put your fingers on 24 on your hundreds chart, please. And if you hop down one space, where do you land? How big was that hop? But how much was it worth? To get from 24 to 34, how much of a hop is that? Eric? 10. So we're making this big hop of 10 to get us to 34. Can you add that hop of 34 onto your number line? And could we take another hop of 10 and still be not at our target yet? Where will we be if we make another hop of 10? 24, 34, what would come next? 44, so we're still not there. Would another hop of 10 work or would another hop of 10 be too much? Anthony? Would it be okay? Would 10 more get us to 50 or would that be too much? It would be too much. Can you count from on your charts from 44 and see how many hops it takes you to get to 50? How many hops did you have to take to get from 44 to 50? Did anyone else take 6 more hops to get there? Okay, so that got us to 50. So how many hops did we take at all? We took a hop of 10 and then another hop of 10. So that gives us how many hops? 10 and 10 gives us how many hops? 20 hops, and 6 extra hops got us to 50, so that is how many hops in all? 26. All right, go ahead and try another strategy. Nice job remembering what this sound means. I would like you to put all of your things back into your tool bag. Please wait and listen. When you get to your desk, I want you to turn all the way to the last word problem and just read it. We're not going to solve this one today. We just want to read it because this is where we're going. This is the next step in word problems. I want to see if you, when you can read it, can see what's different about what we're going to do to solve this one than the ones we've been practicing. Okay? So you're going to clean all your things up and head to your seat and read this to yourself and see if you notice anything different about it. Okay? Go ahead and clean up and head back to your seats, please. Quick and quiet, my friends. Anthony and Brian and Fabiola, we need to get back to our seats, please. find this very last word problem in your packet. We're not going to solve it today, but I want you to see if you can figure out what makes it a little different. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Thank you to Elizabeth and Evelyn, who are already back at their seats and reading. Up. All right, you know what? I guess I didn't give this one to you because I don't want you to solve it yet. So close up your packets and let's read this one off of my board together. I'm sorry, I was going to put it in your packet, but then I was afraid that you would solve it and get stuck and we wouldn't be able to talk about it first. So put everything down, lock up your hands, and I'll read this one to you. As I read, see if you notice something that makes it a little different, a little bit trickier. Ready? There were 46 balls on the playground. 20 were soccer balls and 15 were basketballs. The rest were tennis balls. How many were tennis balls? Would you go ahead? What do you notice? What makes it different? Evelyn?
Instead of having like the two like you already know, like for example, Sam had 15 toy cars and Tom had 10.
Okay.
And instead this one has 46.
It's the 46 balls. It sounds like you're talking about the pieces of information. So as the 46 balls, tell me another piece of important information that you heard. Hank?
There was 15 soccer balls. 15 basketballs.
15 basketballs. Are we done with our important information? No, they gave us more. What else did they tell us, Molly? And do we know that, or is that what we're going to figure out? We're going to figure out how many were tennis balls. Are we out of information? No, we're still not out of information. What else do we know, Samuel? 20 were soccer balls. So instead of just having 2 parts making up a whole, we have 3 parts making up the whole, and we have to figure out what that missing piece is. It's going to take more than one step to solve these problems. So our next target will be to use our strategies to solve 2-step problems where we have to do 2 things to get to that answer. Sager? Okay, so he's saying that you would add 20 to 15 to start, and then whatever the difference is between that answer and the 46 balls in all would tell you that missing part. So you would do adding and subtracting in that problem to be able to come to the answer. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and put our things away.